afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the extraordinary meeting of Armidale Regional Council. I invite you to be upstanding and I invite Councillor Robinson to lead us in the civic affirmation.
We, the councillors of Armidale Region, declare that we will faithfully undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of our community and faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in us to the best of our skill and judgment.
We acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. The Armidale Regional community pays tribute to their love of land, love of people and love of culture.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This meeting is audio and video recorded, and the recordings of the non-confidential parts of the meeting were made available on the internet. No other persons are permitted to record the meeting and were specifically authorised by council to do so. Public address, Mr. Mayor. All speakers are requested to ensure their comments are relevant to the particular agenda item. The chairperson may withdraw the privilege to speak where a speaker makes personal remarks or criticisms or uses abusive or inappropriate language. Speakers do not enjoy any special protection arising from comments made during council meetings and should therefore refrain from making defamatory remarks or personal defamatory statements against any individual. And in relation to mobile phones, we'd ask all of those present, please ensure your mobile phones are switched off. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. General Manager. We have a full complement, so no apologies. Are there any disclosures of interests? Thank you. We have two speakers in the public forum today, and they have 5 minutes to state their views in relation to this single item on the business paper. And the first speaker is Mr. Steve Austin. Thank you, Steve.
Although most people know me, but I've been in Armidale for quite a few years. I've been involved in access issues for 46 years, both as an individual and over 30 years at group level. I have, in that time, I've been in the position as a paid position with council, as well as a volunteer in the access group. So I've got a fair bit of knowledge in that time over the access issues and everything that are in Armidale. On the original committee, when the main issues were for us was getting access from home to town and going to both shopping and going to using recreation facilities and doing that safely. That includes a safe footpath and access across the streets and everything, and using them, as well as once we got into town to go into shops and everything and purchase our own things that we needed. They were some of the main issues. And over the years, there has been a big positive increase in Armidale with what's happened. And even when we needed to go to Sydney and that for medical or social appointments, we've gone down there and always looked at transport going to and from Sydney and everything as well. Hence, we've got the trains have been going. We've got access ramps on the trains. Over the years, councils in New South Wales were required to produce a 4-year disability action plan, and to show where people with disabilities are given consideration when things that are happening in town, and that has been done. The council worked with members of the Access Working Group for at least 3 of these 4-year plans, and has been very productive with a lot of things that have happened in Armidale to improve, including the major issues include notification of footpath and roadworks, where people could not get around along the footpath and across the roads while the work is being done. It's it's very important that people need to be notified of that, especially the vision impaired people, so that they don't run into an obstacle. They are looked after by, there are staff there to keep an eye out for people with disabilities that are getting a bit confused, but after hours there's nobody there, and if people are notified of these roadworks, they can be aware of it and keep away from that. That's been a very good, popular thing. There's a mobility map that's been produced, and again in conjunction with the council and members of the Access Committee, a mobility map is produced which denotes access from, or the map from Taylor Street in the east to the hospital west, north at the Creeklands, and south in Barney Street. And it's got all the highlights in it there of the curb ramps, the accessible motels, the accessible car parking facilities, phone booths, all the specialist medical centres, radiology, pathology, and it's got all them on those things in there. And that needs to be updated every 2 years. There's only been one done since in the life of this plan, which runs out this year, I believe, and that needs to be done. So there's been some good improvements in that, and we have all members of the Access Working Group have been involved in that, and with council. Some of the other things we've had over the years is to have a staff and councillors, where possible, to adopt a disability day, just for a couple of hours, just pretend they've got a disability to make them aware of what new people in wheelchairs have got. So that's some of the things there. And we also have access awards for businesses in Armidale that provide terrific access and treat people with disabilities the same as they do on everybody else. And they are given an award and everything. That's been a popular thing. Yes, I know, I realise that. No, well,
I'm very confident that today we may accommodate Jeff's concerns. But welcome, Jeff, and coffee catch-ups in action, mate.
Okay.
You've got 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you all for allowing me to talk today. The reason I've come today is to express to everyone here in this room and in the community in general how important and essential this Access Committee is. For people with disabilities, access to businesses and services and council services, everything like that, it improves confidence and communication skills, and it reduces the isolation that people with disabilities often feel. And when there are environmental barriers that are placed in front of us, whether it be an uneven footpath or low-hanging branch or roadwork or footpath works, it impedes us to a point where we lose our independence, maybe just for a short time, but it impedes our independence and, most importantly, our safety as well. And as Steve said about the Access Awards, we acknowledge that the businesses are extremely important to this town. We need the business to grow. We need the town to grow for our children, our grandchildren, and for the rest of the community. So we established the Access Awards quite a few years ago to acknowledge those businesses who go out of their way and provide equal service, so we feel like we're an equal part of the community. It's unfair that these environmental barriers have been overlooked the last few years. Life's hard enough as it is without being more forced to be in isolation more than we already are. And to have a committee where we can come and talk about improving access for people with disabilities and the general community, because we often talk about, you know, mothers with parents, people with temporary disabilities like broken legs and broken limbs, things like that. That's an important part of our opportunity to improve our community. If our access is impeded, you take away our quality of life, you take away our independence, and you also take away our ability to be part of the greater community. Our safety, in a lot of cases, for someone like myself who has severe osteoporosis, if I trip, fall, or walk into something, I can quite easily break a vertebrae, and I've already done that 8 times, so I don't want to do it again. To have a standalone committee that can deal with these specific issues, and these issues are so, how should I put it, they're so, I'm trying to think of the right word, sorry. These issues for us, to be able to come out and talk about them and have these barriers removed, it's essential. We have so much knowledge and expertise in this field. We've lost all that when the Disability Access Committee was disbanded. We've lost a lot of people over the last few years. To gain that knowledge and experience back in the committee, it may take a little while, but we will get there. And with your help, we will improve Armidale so everyone has equal access to the community and nobody is going to be disadvantaged. Access is an area where there's a lot of expertise needed and a lot of experience needed. And to have a committee that's part of another committee, it will dilute that opportunity for us to improve access to Armidale. So I just wanted to come up and just, I don't know, I'm probably not articulating myself as well as I wanted to, but this is such an important issue. We need to, you know, reduce the isolation and increase community participation, improve confidence and communication skills. And to be honest, sometimes people with disabilities don't like talking to council and they feel more comfortable talking to other people with disabilities. So we are very open. When we had the committee before, anyone could come in and be a part of the committee. That didn't have to have a disability, but you know, it was advised, you know, that recommended they did have one. If they didn't have one, we could give them one. But okay, thank you.
For coming here today.
Thank you.
We now move to the single item on...
Mr Mayor, would I be able to make a motion in regard to those discussions?
Not at this time, perhaps later.
But
I was, excuse me, as I was saying, we now move into the business of the meeting and item 6.1, and I'm looking for a motion. Thank you, but, yep. And it's seconded by Councillor Robinson, and I think it might almost be on the screen. Can we scroll down to it? Yes, thank you.
Committee's report 6.1. The Council immediately recommences the following peak committees with the committees names as under. Economic Development Committee with Councillor Murat as chairperson and Councillors O'Connor and Bailey as members. Council Environmental Sustainability Committee with Councillor Robinson as chair and Councillor Margaret O'Connor to be added to the committee. Arts and Culture with the Mayor as chairperson. D. Committee Wellbeing Committee with Deputy Mayor Councillor O'Brien as chairperson. E. Sports Council with Councillor Gallatley as chairperson. F. Access Committee with a committee to elect a chairperson and Councillor Murat to be the council representative. 3. That the Traffic Advisory and Aboriginal Advisory Committees continue unchanged. 4. That the membership of all the above committees remains unchanged until the committees cease when council moves into the caretaker mode. And 5. That at the discretion of the chairperson and the general manager, the above committees are permitted to meet more regularly than provided in the terms of reference.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
I think I just did.
You did, okay. Is there any opposition? Well, the seconder like to speak to the motion?
Thank you. I just wanted to say that my heart went out to all the committee and community members who participated in the Ackroyd review and explained the problems that they encountered, such as council having its own agenda, little commitment from council to embrace anything but their own ideas. Council doesn't listen. We advisory committees are not advisory. Committees have a tick box exercise, not genuine engagement, and having a committee that you take no notice of is worse than having no committee at all. And I just want to say that's exactly how I felt as chairman of one committee and a member of the other. But I really, really believe that the culture is now changing, and this is a great opportunity to get the committees back on track, and that includes the Access Advisory Committee, so that we can do all the things that we really wanted to do to start achieving all the goals and plans on which we've all worked so hard. So let's get on with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Is there any opposition? I don't think there's a need for reply. Can I put the motion? All those in favour? To the contrary, carried unanimously. I would now ask chairs of those committees to meet with senior staff and to prepare basic agendas and distribute them so that the first committee meetings can be held as soon as possible. That concludes the business of the ordinary meeting. I declare it closed. Thank you. We now